And we're back with our politics panel. Molly Ball is a politics reporter for The Atlantic. Ramesh Ponnuru is a senior editor for the National Review. Jamelle Bouie is a CBS News political analyst and Slate Magazine's chief political correspondent. Michael Duffy is deputy managing editor for Time Magazine. And Ed O'Keefe covers politics for The Washington Post. I want to play some more of the president's statement yesterday on the events in Charlottesville. Let's take a look.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. This has been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives. No citizen should ever fear for their safety and security in our society, and no child should ever be afraid to go outside and play or be with their parents and have a good time. No matter our color, creed, religion, or political party, we are all Americans first. We want to get the situation straightened out in Charlottesville, and we want to study it. And we want to see what we're doing wrong as a country where things like this can happen.
The White House has just issued a statement. It reads, the president said very strongly in his statement yesterday that he condemns all forms of violence, bigotry, and hatred. And of course, that includes white supremacist, KKK, neo-Nazi, and all extremist groups. He called for national unity and bringing all Americans together. Michael Duffy, I want to start with you. That is not the way everybody took it. And one of the people who didn't take it that way was Orrin Hatch, senator from Utah. He tweeted this: "We should call evil by its name." This is in response to the president's remarks yesterday. "My brother didn't give his life fighting Hitler for Nazi ideas to go unchallenged here at home." Where are we here?
Well, we're seeing a White House in motion on what happened in Charlottesville, obviously, since yesterday. And I think we can think a little bit about John F. Kennedy, who liked to borrow liberally from Dante at times and say, you know, the hottest place in hell is reserved for those people in times of great moral crisis who stick to the neutral position. That's where the White House was yesterday, and its silence overnight was a problem. And the Republican Party, which is slowly beginning to step away from Trump for a lot of reasons, in the form of Hatch, Marco Rubio, whose parents came from, obviously from Cuba, and others, made it very clear overnight that that was not going to be a strong enough position. It's a moral failure not to call out actions by white nationalists or white supremacists who turn up in a college town, carrying torches, shouting Nazi slogans, and carrying Confederate flags. There's no ambiguity about that.
Ramesh, the president's been pretty tough on critics calling people un-American. In this case, he said he talked about the violence and the bigotry on all sides. Is that the problem, the moral equivalence here?
President Trump can be extremely specific when he wants to criticize somebody, whether it is a former FBI director, a federal judge, or the cast of the Hamilton musical. In the case of yesterday's statement, he was unwilling to do that, and I think the President of the United States gave white supremacists a propaganda victory by not specifically naming them yesterday, and he has still himself not specifically named them.
What happens now, Molly? He might have a press conference tomorrow, is supposed to. I mean, is this a fixable problem for a president?
Well, I think it's not just a political problem for the president. I mean, it is, I think, as Michael said, you do see increasing distance being put between other Republicans and Donald Trump. This didn't have to be a story that was primarily about Donald Trump, but what you see from him is that he's obsessed with his own potential role in it. The statement that he made, this isn't Donald Trump, this isn't Barack Obama, immediately taking this personalizing it, making it a story about him and his relationship, which goes back to the very beginnings of the campaign, winking and nodding at the so-called alt-right, playing footsie with these white supremacist movements. They themselves say they've been emboldened by the rise of Trump, and so they're not going to go away, and he has shown a clear unwillingness to tell them to go away.
Jamelle, the president says he wants to find out what happened in Charlottesville and seek for the roots of this. What's your reaction to that?
I think, reaction echoes everyone on this panel, that if you're looking for the roots of why white supremacists and neo-Nazis felt emboldened to march on a college town, you don't have to look very far from the White House. You just have to look at Trump and his refusal to, at any stage, condemn these people, whether it's the endorsement of David Duke that he refused to condemn, whether it's the fact that he brought someone like Stephen Bannon, whose Breitbart catered to these people, into the White House. You look at the president's behavior, and at a certain point, you're going to have to say that maybe the reason he doesn't condemn these people is because in one way or another, he may see them as allies, see them as part of his activist base. And that, I don't know how one deals with that, but if you're trying to examine the roots of this, then I think you have to look there.
Ed, we have about 30 seconds left. This distance with the president from Republicans, do they feel compelled to come out? I mean, who speaks to this argument? Orrin Hatch does, but does anybody pick this up, or do they just hope it goes away?
Well, I think increasingly they've hoped it would go away, because they issue these tweets or a press release, or they stop us in the hall. We stop them in the hallway, and they say, oh, this is awful, and then they move on. And it's just so frustrating to think that sometimes that they just don't do more. And you just wonder at what point the party will break and really try to separate itself even further.
We will do more, but we have to go now. We'll be back with our panel later. Stay with us.